hopefully, the people involved in the murder of the whistleblower, John Barnett, face justice and are put in prison for the rest of their lives because they deserve it. These people are evil because they assassinated a person for speaking out against the practices of Boeing. Boeing truly thinks this is going to make them look good, killing a person for speaking out against their safety practices, especially uh, when they've been having so many issues with their planes, the doors coming out. It's being found out that people are using soap instead of lubricant for various parts that actually need lubricant. Planes, their engines catching fire in the air. Yeah, Boeing needs to be uh, ruined and dissolved. This business shouldn't exist anymore.
In a CBS News exclusive interview, we are hearing from the family of a Boeing whistleblower who was found dead earlier this month. John Barnett, a former Boeing employee, had been giving evidence in a whistleblower lawsuit against the company. A coroner says he died from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It comes as Boeing's safety practices have come under new scrutiny due to a series of recent mid-air incidents. Mark Strassman spoke with Barnett's mother and brother, and he's in Charleston, South Carolina. Mark, good morning. We're learning a lot.
The dude told his family that if he's found dead, it's not a suicide. This dude loved his life, loved his family, plans to do stuff. This dude did not commit suicide.
A lot about Mr. Barnett.
Good morning, Vlad. We are learning a lot. John Barnett was the quality manager for Boeing and the type of guy who had no problem speaking up when something was wrong. And for that, his whistleblower lawsuit claims the company retaliated against him.
He never wanted to try to bring Boeing down or hurt him. That was the least of his agenda.
Vicky Stokes' son, John Barnett, spent more than 3 decades working at Boeing.
Initially, he loved Boeing.
Yes.
Rodney Barnett says his brother John became concerned when he transferred to Boeing's South Carolina plant in 2010.
What kind of problems did he tell you that he noticed in the factory?
Quality issues, procedures that wasn't being followed, shortcuts that was trying to be taken.
Barnett claimed he was retaliated against for speaking up. He left the company in 2017.
He didn't go into it.
Boeing and, just like pretty much every other company, all they care about is profits. So if they can cut corners for quality materials and stuff like that, they will, if it means they get more money. They don't care about the safety of people.
A lot of detail, but I know he was like embarrassed at meetings. He would be called out.
Was his treatment at work, did it wear on him?
Oh, yes. That would wear anybody down after, I don't know whether it's 7 or 8 years.
In a whistleblower lawsuit, Barnett alleged a litany of safety concerns: titanium shavings falling into electrical wiring, defective oxygen tanks, and managers urging him to cut corners.
Managers were urging him to cut corners.
Defective oxygen tanks, and managers urging him to cut corners.
Okay, yeah, titanium flakes falling into electrical wiring, that can cause a short circuit, and Boeing, but don't care. Defective oxygen tanks, that is serious. Just like titanium flakes falling into electrical wiring, people could die from that. I mean, if the cabin suddenly experienced a depressurization event, those tanks wouldn't save the people like they should. And managers urging him to cut corners or urging other people to cut corners, this just shows that Boeing doesn't care about the safety of their customers. It's all about profit over people.
Robert Turkowitz and Brian Knowles represent Barnett.
The retaliation John faced was something he endured constantly.
He wasn't trying to hurt Boeing. He was trying to save Boeing. He saw this coming, and he said at some point, you know, this is all going to come down on Boeing.
In recent months,
But Boeing saw it as John Barnett trying to hurt them because it would expose them for the practices that they do, and it would show that they don't care about the safety of their customers and only cared about profits. Though murdering this dude just made it worse for Boeing.
Boeing has grappled with questions about its safety culture, specifically repeated problems with its 737 MAX planes, including the mid-flight blowout of an Alaska Airlines door. Barnett worked on a different plane, but raised similar concerns.
What was his reaction to those headlines?
It wasn't joyful, I can tell you that. The whole thing was the flying public. He had their back. All these times, he's had their back trying to stand up, get safety concerns straightened out.
Earlier this month, Barnett was found.
This is the problem with companies having unfettered power. They can do anything that they want and get away with it. They're making profits. There's a lot of people that honestly don't care that they're murdering people or risking the safety of others.
Dead in his truck from what the coroner says was an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Do you believe this was a suicide?
The investigation is going on right now, and yeah, we're not going to go to that. We're going to wait and see what the investigation brings out.
Do you blame Boeing?
Though, how hard is it for an assassin to make it appear as if a person committed suicide? All they would is correctly place a gun in an angle that would look like a person shot themselves, or even force the person to hold the gun while the assassin pulled the trigger.
I think if this hadn't have gone on so long, I'd still have my son. My sons would still have their brother, and we wouldn't be sitting here. So in that respect, I do.
Barnett's family.
It's truly messed up knowing that a company and the nation you lived in murdered your child. Like, there is something that should be done, but will this family truly see any kind of justice? It is honestly up in the air.
He intends to carry on his whistleblower lawsuit against Boeing.
What is his legacy?
That Boeing changes and makes things right in their factories, builds the planes that we're used to Boeing flying.
That's all they wanted, just the safety of the public.
Yeah, imagine being murdered by the place you work at just because you want safety for the customer. It would be like working at a restaurant and being like, hey, this place doesn't clean up their grill well enough, and it causes people to get sick. And then the next day, that person is murdered by an assassin that the company has hired. That would be messed up.
In a statement to CBS News, Boeing said, "We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends." One final point, and this is important. The company has said in the past that it both reviewed and addressed the quality issues Barnett raised before he retired. Tony?
Right, which is why nothing changed or anything of the sort, which is why their planes are going to have basically just imploded in the sky. I mean, you got planes whose engines are catching fire in the sky. You got planes that are losing wheels while they're flying or trying to land. You got planes whose doors are just being ripped out as they fly. This just proves that Boeing has done nothing to address the issues.
Tony?
Mark, thank you very much. That's what Boeing says. There are other people who say if Barnett had truly been listening